Shoot, no luck this morning. I have been chomping at the bit to get back in here and hunt too. So, looked like a really great spot. There's a soybean field about 100 yards to the north of here, and I saw the deer out there feeding pre-season when I was scouting. About 80, 100 yards this way is a swampy area I know the deer bed in. I've seen deer back in here in seasons past. And this is a nice, it's an active red oak drop between the feeding and bedding area, and I've been really just waiting on a north wind to get in here and catch those deer stopping to feed on these oaks on their way to bed coming off the field in the morning. It looked really good pre-season this year. I think it really looked good to somebody else too, because when I came around the corner off the main trail, I wasn't sure whether I was looking at the woods or a starry summer sky with all the glow tacks back in here on the trees. Didn't see a single deer. The other wildlife kind of kept me company, but hey, that happens sometimes. It's public land. I hear the guy squirrel hunting over there. When you do get shut out, it doesn't matter why you're not seeing deer. Maybe somebody's hunting a spot when you're not there. Maybe you picked the wrong one to hunt it on. Maybe you just picked a dud. That's happened to me before a few times too. But when that happens, it's time to move on and find yourself another spot. Take the long way back to the truck. Work some brush. Take your time. Head neb. Look for deer sign. Try to find a new setup. If you live in the Northeast, in one of the states that has old vestiges of blue laws and doesn't allow Sunday hunting, you have all day Sunday to scout. Otherwise, the best time to do in-season scouting are the hours between 10 and 2 when there are fewer hunters in the woods, because you're bound to move a few deer, and you want those deer there when you come back to hunt them later, not shot by somebody sitting in a deer stand. As fall progresses, the woodlands present more of a challenge to scout with the fresh leaf fall. It can quickly obscure a fresh deer sign, and that's what you're looking for, the freshest deer sign you can find. Deer basically still need two things, food and cover. So we're going to look at food sources and find the freshest deer sign we can, and we're going to look for heavy cover. If you can find good mast, look for droppings mixed in. Droppings on top of leaves are bound to be fresh, indicating that the deer are using this area to feed. And while deer tracks and trails through the fresh leaf fall can be very hard to detect, the deer trails into the thick cover they bed in stand out like a sore thumb. The rubs bucks leave behind are also a good indication that they're using the area, and these should be noted in our scouting efforts. Bucks will also scrape the ground. This is typical activity this time of year, and it's done to advertise their presence for does. If you find a scrape, find one that's not covered up in leaves. Find a recently worked scrape. An active scrape can be a highly productive area to hunt, not just for bucks, but for does as well, because they're scraping on the doe travel roads. We still want to focus our efforts on finding stand sites between feeding and bedding areas. And even with thick leaf litter, looking in moist, boggy terrain can help you locate those travel roads. This active scrape back in this thick bedding cover looked like a great choice to me. And with a parking area to the north, about a half a mile, and access from the east, about 3/4 of a mile, this meant I would have to walk around and approach the area from the south through the swamp with the northwest wind to stay downwind of the other hunter pressure and my chosen stand site. This meant a very early morning indeed. I would have to get up and walk 1.5 miles around the swamp in a pair of waders to get in my tree by dawn. That was encouraging. They looked to be following does. Look like a forky, a little spike, or right nice 8-point.
dark. I couldn't get the shot lined up and get the camera on him at the same time. He came into my grunt, and he can't get downwind of me because I came through the swamp, and the swamp's right behind me here. But he seems to be circling and looking for does in this thick cover. He comes back around again. That's the second time I've seen him this morning. He comes back around again. I'm going to kill him. How awesome was that? It's mid-afternoon. I'm still up here in the tree stand, this new spot I scouted on the edge of this swamp. And I saw that buck trolling through with his nose to the ground looking for doe. I grunted him in. He circled around, came on down in, and he tried to get around and get downwind of me, but he can't because I'm right up on the edge of this knee-deep swamp. So he worked his way up the edge of the swamp, got up underneath my stand here. Didn't have a clue I was here because my scent's all blowing back across the swamp. He moved on around, and I had him dead to rights at 15 yards and drew on him. But I wasn't real comfortable with that shot. He was behind some branches, and then he moved through the opening there and around that dead stump so quickly, I just didn't feel like I had a good chance to make a good, clean kill. So I went ahead and let down.
Even though the deer on this particular piece of public land had already been subject to 9 weeks of archery hunting and 10 days of intense pressure due to a black powder season, I was able to get down and do some in-season scouting and put myself right in the action. So if you're not seeing deer, don't stay tethered to the same tree all season. One final consideration for tree stand placement on public land. Don't cross the travel roads and trails the deer use when you access your stand locations. Accessing this stand site like I did across the swamp will keep the area the deer are using virtually scent-free, and they won't become suspicious and begin to avoid the area after a while because of human scent left behind on their travel roads. I don't think I'm done with the swamp edge stand site. I'll keep it fresh by crossing that swamp and hopefully bring you some videos of a kill made in that location in the very near future. So give us a like on our Facebook page. Stop by and visit us on the web at www.camochairproductions.com, and you'll be the first to know when that video surfaces. We'll see you again soon.